With newly elected Speaker Mike Johnson at the helm, the House Republican Conference is aiming to continue its impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. And Johnson's not ruling out a subpoena for the president's troubled son, Hunter.
We are going to follow the law and follow the Constitution. And I think you and I have a suspicion of where that may lead, but we're going to let the evidence speak for itself.
Are you expecting to subpoena Hunter Biden?
I think that desperate times call for desperate measures, and that perhaps is overdue. We're trying to move forward on some of this very aggressively. I think the American people are owed these answers.
Here with reaction, former Georgia congressman and colleague of mine, Doug Collins, along with Fox News contributor Liz Peek. Both of you, welcome to The Bottom Line. Doug, I'm going to come to you first. Okay. As a former member of Congress, there was a lot of talk of impeachment inquiries, subpoenas under Kevin McCarthy. Mm-hmm. You now have a new speaker. Is this going to be any different than the first 9 months of the McCarthy speakership?
I hope it is in a sense of the way we phrase it. Because, again, an impeachment inquiry implies something. As someone who was set as ranking member during an actual, the faux impeachment of the Democrats of Donald Trump the first time, there's a difference in actually starting an impeachment inquiry by going through the vote on the House, as you would well know, which actually gives the House powers it doesn't normally have. And instead of just doing that, I think they need to continue the investigation. The Biden crime family, what they're doing is working. They don't need to just complicate it with impeachment because everybody wants to go back and avenge Donald Trump's impeachment. We just need to stick to showing the people here's what's actually happened. Let them be the judge. And believe me, people are starting to buy.
You need more evidence.
They're buying. They're buying.
So I think Comer was on the right track, going after the bank records, showing the checks, right? Trying to tie this back to Joe Biden. When you follow that money trail, Liz Peek, that's how you're going to show he was involved in this. Not only did he know about it, but they need to show that he was enriched by it. And they are on that trail.
Joe Biden said, find the money. Where's the money?
Where's the money?
They're finding the money as they go. I admire James Comer's approach to this. By the way, Kevin McCarthy basically said the same thing. We're going to do this by the book. We're going to be very sort of digital and very careful about this and go through all the records and compile a record. I think they're doing a great job. And to Doug's point, the polling shows that people think this is now a corrupt president. Mm-hmm. I mean, not that that's such a wonderful achievement, but they're getting to where they want to be, where people really don't any longer trust Joe Biden. The numbers are very clear on that. So I like what they're doing. I don't think it. Look, the Democrats so terribly politicized the whole impeachment process.
They have.
Shame on them. The Republicans are doing it better. I hope they get some credit for that, but I think it's the right thing.
Sometimes you can't live by two different standards and rules. And Democrats have a rule for Republican presidents and then Republicans go back to the old standard and treat presidents with respect and at some point, it's mutual assured destruction.
I totally agree.
And so we'll see. But let's go to this, because he may be bird brain, but he's no Larry Bird. California Governor Gavin Newsom flattening some poor kid during his climate pilgrimage to China.
Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this before, he was spinning the ball and trying to look all cool and totally levels a kid. Then starts to
slap his back. It looks like he's like choking on a candy and he's trying to get it out.
Like he's spanking him or something. But clearly.
Doug, unpack this for us. What's going on here, Doug? Tell us. You're the Newsom whisperer.
Gavin goes right. He moves in the middle. He comes up there. Well, charge all the way. That's a charge all the way. And I don't get it. I mean, why would you? What is the purpose of this? This is the part. I mean, you're playing against kids. You're going around as if this is an event or a basketball game. And then if you play this tape a little bit longer, after he gets the kid up and the kid sort of shakes it off, Gavin then shoots it and scores, and you think he's won the Game 7 of NBA Finals.
Oh, I think
really?
He's Obama. He's trying to – remember Obama was always kind of taken to the basketball court? That's what this guy's trying to do. But more offensive than this video was his walking sort of alpha male-like down the halls of the Great Hall of China to meet Xi Jinping. I mean, that to me was sort of like, here I am, I really should be president, I look like a president. I think that's his only credit for running, is that he looks presidential. I mean, he kind of is a bird brain, and his state has been a disaster under his guidance. So what does he have to offer? Kind of the cool dude thing, and that's what he was showing off. And I'm so happy this happened, really. Well, I know that's small of me, but I am.
I look at what happened, and we're making fun of it, and get a mistake. We've been in politics Folks, mistakes happen. You fall on kids sometimes, especially when you're having fun with them.
Kid.
But I think more people, especially on the right, are angry about how sold he seems to China, and he's promoting Chinese goods, and isn't China so wonderful? I think that's a problem. And also, I'm going to give him credit. I don't like his ideas, but he'll be destroying California. He'll come on Sean Hannity's show and other shows, and he will defend it and look straight in the camera and like, this is great and it's working, and you're wrong, conservative. He plays it really well.
And he's going to China at a time also when China is funding Iran, and Iran is funding Hamas and other proxy groups in the Middle East. So that part to me is brain dead too.
Well, it is, but he also knows he won't get fact checked. I mean, he realized he came on Fox, or he'll come on those kind of shows, but he also realized that the liberal voters, the 50% of the voters, are not going to sort of fact check what he's believing, because he's selling the line of the liberal line. But also, he was over there during the same time in China promoting the electric vehicles in China. He was doing these kind of things. Again, to me, from our perspective, if a conservative was over there doing the same thing, the media would light them up. How can you support this? I've never heard the Uyghur come out of his mouth.
It was all about climate
I've never heard
change.
of human rights.
What's wrong with California? Climate change. That's what he's selling to China. Good for him.
And $7 a gallon gas.
Yeah.
Liz and Doug, thank you guys for joining us.
It's
I appreciate it. We're lucky to not be in Congress with how crazy it is. Doug and Duffy.